Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents the Dave Hplly Hour, brought to you by TJS Ceramic Studio, Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, Chasers Food and Spirits, Excel Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. The Dave Hplly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Hplly.
Welcome, one and all. Great to have you along, as today we will be speaking to JAS Quintet saxophonist Joel Shotwell. They're going to be playing Saturday night in Flandreau at the Crystal Theater. Fun place to play. Joel stopped by the Dipsy Doodle production studio this week before it became the Dripsy Doodle studio. You see, this warmer weather, to get above freezing that we all wanted so bad. If you hear water dripping in the background, it's snow melting coming through the window. Thankfully, able to move audio equipment out of the way, and it could also be called the Dripsy Studio due to my runny nose. Thank you so much, first cold of the year, said Mr. Sarcasm. I do need to update you on a concern of mine. A couple of weeks back, I woke up with basically the equivalent of that big smoke monster from the TV show Lost in my right eye. That's how bad the floaters were and so forth. Dust bunnies and stuff like that. Very limited vision and couldn't focus in on things. So was hoping it would simply go away, as floaters typically do. So a few days later, I was able to get into the Sanford Optical Clinic because things weren't improving. And then a week after that, which would have been last Friday morning, the eye surgeon looked me straight in the eye. You'll like that pun intended, huh? And said there were 4 choices, 2 of which would have put me in the situation of maybe a 50% chance of going blind. So I went with what was behind door number 4, which was the whole shebang. But so here's the process. In order to prevent my left eye from possibly having the same issue, she lasered it, and I got injections in both eyes, and I go back February 14th. And if the left eye is doing well and the right eye has been clearing some, she will most likely laser that one. And while they do numb the area, there is still some pain involved with the laser. I made it through, didn't have to ask her to stop, but it's a different type of pain. Oh my. Don't want to have to do it again, but I'm going to, because if all goes well, I should have a restored vision. All right. In the meantime, though, I can't drive or work. Typing, texting, reading, all quite difficult. I had to cancel trivia the past week, but hoping with the large screen TV and an iPad that I can put right in front of my eyes, I'll be able to make it through that this coming Monday. The heartbreaker, though, was having to bow out of being in this year's premieres. Tough to memorize lines, and with balance and depth perception being off as well, blocking directions would have been very trying. Not to mention the fact that the day that they open would be a day after my next most likely eye surgery. But since I can still talk, a little bit at least, we trudge on with this show, because at least I can talk. Joel Shotwell coming up in just a few minutes. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly little show.
Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party.
Whatever you're drinking it from, might very well be determined by where and when you're listening. My choice, of course, is a Jasper Newton, Jack Daniels Diet Coke with lime. For you, whether it's a cup of coffee, glass of milk, bottle of water, mug of beer, a cocktail, glass of wine, or a flute of champagne, lift it high and toast it to those that care. You know, those friends that wonder how you're doing. Ask if you need anything. Can I give you a ride? Or they can sense that while you might be shrugging off a situation, but know there's more to it. So cheers to caring people. Speaking of Cheers, if you were a fan of the old sitcom Cheers, then you're gonna love Chaser's Food and Beverage, West 12th and Ellis Road. The friendly staff will get to know you by name and provide you with great food and drink and lots of smiles. Monday night, Dave Holly Hour Trivia. Cross your fingers at Chasers. Starting at 7 and this coming Monday night, the trivia theme will be Double Down, all about the twos. If that sounds like a repeat from last week, it was, because we never got to do the Double Down. So we're doubling down on the fact that Dave will do trivia this coming Monday. Honorable mention. What over the past week made Dave laugh, guffaw, chuckle, chortle, giggle, smile, or maybe even shed a tear of joy? That would go to those great people that just make stuff up. Improv Falls. Now, while my sight was horrible, etc., I could at least hear Improv Falls, and I, could put a hand down, and the distance I was from, I could tell who each of them was, that type of thing. But when you've gone through something and you just need a good laugh, and if you're ever in need of a good laugh, you see that Improv Falls is playing somewhere, go. You will be thankful for it. Coming up next, JAS Quintet saxophonist Joel Shotwell on the Dave Holly Hour.
Get ready to unleash your creativity and spread the love. Introducing the latest art movement that's sure to capture your heart. Love. Artists of all backgrounds, it's your time to shine. Channel your passion and express the boundless facets of love through your unique creations. Whether it's a canvas masterpiece, a photograph, or a sculpture that speaks volumes, we want to see your interpretation of love in all its form. This is not just a call for art, it's an invitation to share your perspective on one of the most powerful emotions known to humanity. Love transcends boundaries, and so does art. Let your imagination run wild and submit your masterpiece to be part of something extraordinary. The call for art love is open to artists all around. Don't miss your chance to be featured in a showcase at Serendipity Studio in Sioux Falls that celebrates the universal language of love. Your art could inspire, uplift, and resonate with hearts around the globe. Join us in this artistic celebration. Visit our website at serendipitystudiosd.com for submission details, deadlines, and more. Let your creativity radiate and be a beacon of love through your art. Because in a world that could always use more love, your masterpiece might be just the spark it needs. Call for art love, where passion meets creativity. Submit your masterpiece today and let the love flow through art like never before. The Love Exhibit runs from February 3rd through the 24th. You can see it live at Serendipity Studio, located downtown Sioux Falls in the historic Shriver Building on the 2nd floor.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics inside Oscar's Mini Storage. We have thousands of classic vintage ceramic mold items and several new items too. TJS Ceramics offers classes, special open studio nights, and completed ready-to-purchase items. Bisque studio time or painting parties are available. Visit TJS Ceramics Studio in person today or email tjsceramics@gmail.com for more details.
Are you an artist? Need some funding to further your art? There's a great opportunity for you through a Sioux Falls Arts Council program. The Artist Microgrant program gives away several microgrants to local artists, no matter what art discipline you're in. Unlike more traditional grants, a microgrant is very easy to apply for. Go to artssiouxfalls.org. If you haven't done so yet, create a listing on the Artist Directory, which is beneficial in its own way. Then go to the Artist Microgrants page and apply online. The process is simple. Find out more about the Sioux Falls Arts Council as well online at artssiouxfalls.org.
The Dave Holly Hour, like eavesdropping on a great conversation between two very interesting people.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh, my goodness, it is always so great. It is such a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire arts and entertainment. Always great to have a guest back from time to time. And this guy's made a few multiple turns here around the wheel of the Dave Holly Hour.
Yeah.
Joel Shotwell, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Glad to hear that I'm doing well, yeah. And it's great to have you. And, here we are. It's Thursday, and you're going to be playing this weekend.
Yeah, we get to play with JAS Quintet at the Flandreau Crystal Theater. And that's what JAS doesn't get to play in Sioux Falls a whole ton. Just because it's quintet and we do like kind of our own thing. So it's usually not in the corner background music,
right.
Although we do it and we love playing with each other no matter what. But it's kind of nice when it's special in a theater because we get to do our thing for real. And it's kind of the setting that size of group was meant to be in. So
have you played there before?
We have.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a great little
show
spot
there once and loved it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like one of these gems that exist all over the state. Actually, a lot of these small towns had these theaters, and they've kind of people work in the town to keep them going, or people will like revitalize them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
well, my hometown of Rock Rapids is hoping to do that at some point.
That would be awesome.
Got a lot of work to go on that one yet.
Yep.
Yeah. So that is a fun place, the Crystal Theater in Flandreau. Man.
Yep.
Yeah. And what's so great about it is you go out there and the marquee that's still out there and so forth. Always fun time.
It is.
All right. So who will be involved in the quintet this time abouts?
The quintet is Jeff Paul on piano, Andrew Reinhardt's on bass, Jim Spears on trumpet, Dan Heyer on drums, and myself on saxophone.
All right. I've been thinking about this the other day because I was listening to some golden oldies and there were some sax parts in it. And I know we always talk, when you were around, it's usually we're talking jazz and who your saxophone influences were from the jazz area and so forth. But are there some great solos on the saxophone that you hear from time to time in pop music that you go, oh man, I got to do that?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes like in pop music, it kind of, there's only like a couple that really where I get that feeling where you're saying like, oh yeah, I got to do that. And one of them is like, Wayne Shorter's solo on Asia, Steely Dan.
Oh, right.
That when I heard, that totally helped open my mind to the idea of like more pop saxophone in a way, but it's hard. Like I totally respect it. And part of it is like, when I do, and I've tried to practice it and mimic that sort of style, I don't really quite feel right, like it connects with me very much. Not that it never bothers me either. Like every time I hear it, I'm like, that is absolutely perfect. No one should ever ask me to do that because like I can't. It's like I don't find I'm not compelled to like work that towards that. Well, but yeah, there's like Tom Scott, like the stuff he's done tons of stuff, and I'm sure you've heard him. Like he was on all sorts of 80s records and does solo stuff. And every time I hear him, it's usually, he was on that Steely Dan album too. And it's usually like, whoa, this is somebody who does this the best as they can. It's like, is it Lou Tobacco? I think on SNL, like, holy crap, like that's insane. Like, and I just can't, it's like an attitude, right? Like, and I admire it and respect it, but I don't have that sort of attitude. But to answer your question, that Wayne Shorter one is the only one that's really got me where I'm like, oh, like that's,
I have to.
Yeah, I would love to be in those shoes, All
right. But in the meantime, in the shoes that you are in, JAS, how many years have you guys been around now?
Wow. People, it's probably kind of like cliche to say like, oh, I'm not quite sure or yeah, but I actually am. I'm not. So I'm trying to think like probably 15 years.
That's awesome.
We've all been playing together for probably close to 20 years, like in some aspect.
Right.
The JAS was an accident not an accident. We put the five of us together for a reason, but it became JAS and then it kind of just stuck that way like those things do. Cause why not? Like, oh, we've been using it. Let's just use it. So with that particular configuration of those five guys, it's probably been 10 to 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And how many you still call them an album?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
And we do other stuff
too,
too.
because you've got one up in a frame even up
Yeah,
there.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
now I actually have
remember
a turntable that I can play shit on.
Sweet. That's awesome. Yeah. Sorry.
So how many albums have you been putting out then?
Well, we've done as a band together too, but we've also done on an album we played with Jamie Lynn on. That was hers. We played on like half of one of hers. We've also done little recording projects for little things, not like full albums. So, and there's always stuff on the horizon or ideas like, oh, we could do this or we could do this. You know, when we do an album with the JAS Quintet, it is a true jazz quintet, and it's meant to be live. So the recording a thing like that is worthy of putting on a vinyl album. We have to do it in a setting where it's like, let's get the best sounds we can. So it's a little more involved. So it doesn't happen as often.
Right. Yeah. It's not like, people putting out albums because part A was done in somebody's home, part B was done, and they all just find somebody to put it all together and go, oh yeah, it's a nice mix.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Which is a cool way to do it too. Like my last album, we all recorded separately and did it that way. But with the quintet, it's just a different thing. So, but yeah, we've been able to get some good live recordings of each other too. And that's been fun to listen.
Is this your favorite group to be in?
I think, yeah. I mean,
because you play in a variety of different bands and so forth.
It's hard to say that, like the favorite, but it definitely feels the most comfortable and at home, and
personable.
The most, yeah. And I mean, all the groups that I tend to play with, because I'm really picky. It really matters to me where I spend my time. You know, like, and I know that sounds like really stuffy, maybe, I don't know, but I don't want to leave my family to go spend time with people I don't love, you know? So like when I play with, anybody else, the Hags, John Bakken, now I've played with some and other groups, it's always going to be people that I'm all in, but JAS definitely feels like the most, when we play together, it's like, oh yeah, it matters that we've been speaking to each other in a musical way for 10 to 15 years.
What do you like about everybody that's in your group?
Well, I don't like them. No,
I have a feeling you love them, but
nothing. Those dirty bastards. No. Do you want me to tell you what I like best about each one of them?
That would be wonderful.
Okay. I like that idea. Okay. Yeah. So as a professional, on a professional level, I'll start with Andrew, and then I'll talk about their personal. Okay. So Andrew would be on the professional level. Obviously, he plays upright bass and electric bass really, really good. Professional level too, he can communicate really, really, really well. In fact, like a lot of times I run things through him or bounce ideas about communication off of him because I feel like that's probably one of my weakest points. And then he has a lot of experience that way. Also, like if something goes wrong in a musical setting, especially when it comes to technology or any setting musically, which happens all the time, you're setting up, you're sound checking, things are going wrong. He can usually kind of burrow in and figure those things out. And he does a good job. Yeah. On a personal level, he's just, we camp together. I go stay at his cabin, or we're raising children and we talk about those. We have cigars. Yeah. I mean, I just like his honesty. So Jeff Paul, the piano player, on a professional level, he's one of the most interesting piano players that I've ever played with. Because he is open and we've done this for so long and he's patient with someone like me, that's how I feel, is he's been patient with me along my growth, and I know he doesn't feel like that, but doesn't feel like he's fathering or anything like that. But you know what I mean? Like,
but I'm
trying to be overly humble.
Right.
Yeah. I feel comfortable taking risks, but he likes that and he'll go there and we can kind of discover it. What's fun is that, we all tend to go have our own dialect. So professionally, man, he listens so closely. He knows exactly where I am in a musical phrase or idea. even if I'm abstract, I feel like he knows what kind of abstraction I'm drawing from. Like just as far as like theoretical ear knowledge, like also if I'm moving in a pattern that's like logical but not typical, he knows what that sounds like, and he goes there with me. That's the whole point of the music, like there's a reason why some people play together all the time, because they figured each other out, so I feel on a professional level, that's Jeff, and he brings a lot of music to the table. Personal level, same thing. We have cigars. I went and saw his concerto, tried to get as close as I could. I made jokes that me and Riley my daughter were gonna throw things at him. And, anyway, yeah, we just are good friends, which is, will be a common theme with every member of the band.
He has a fine collection of hats too.
Great collection of hats.
Yeah.
And I like his like kind of just passion about different things other than music, because it's nice to know that I'm not the only weirdo out there that likes to obsess over other things,
Well, you talk about the professionalism of those two, especially Andrew and Jeff, being in the South Dakota Symphony Orchestra as well, and
absolutely
the knowledge that they have from that, and and by the way, Jeff is usually playing like an oboe or something when it comes to that.
Yep.
So it's the knowledge of other instruments, it's the knowledge of how music in a classical way can be put together, but by the same token, doing jazz and how it can be improved.
Yep.
Yeah. Fantastic.
The more you know the more you know, the better your ideas are. And it can come from any place, musically or outside of that. I think that's really cool to know people like that.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
Dan Heyer.
Oh, yes. Drummer
Okay.
Dan.
Yeah, drummer Dan. Professionally, like, you can always leave it up to Dan. Like, like I have ideas, like a lot of times, everybody works a little differently. And what I noticed first with Dan professionally is that I used to maybe, and I don't know, you never know how you come across, but I used to be like, oh, I was thinking about drums like this. Maybe this could work. But with Dan, I can just say, oh yeah, it's kind of like faster, and like just kind of like throw like real abstract, and then just know that he's going to kind of start tweaking that. And I don't need to interject. I just know that eventually he's going to stumble on something that I could have never fathomed, and that'll be way better. And every single time that seems to be the case, I'm like, oh, damn. And then he also like has the ability, this is what I really love, everybody in the band, but the drummer can dictate a lot in a band. Like the drummer is basically in charge, I think, when we're performing, especially in this aspect, because he has the most power. But Dan isn't afraid, and he's good at changing on the spot. Like we don't always play our tunes the exact same way. In fact, sometimes we play them very differently, and a drummer can impede that. If a drummer doesn't want to go where we're going, then we're stuck going where he goes. We could fight it, but it's all. So Dan has great. And obviously he's a great drummer too, in all sorts of styles. I like Dan too, because me and him go work with schools in the area too. Like band directors will hire us,
right,
and we'll come work with their band clinicum for an hour or two. And Dan's really good at that. He can take the rhythm section, and he has great advice, and we work good as a team because we're kind of like go at it different angles. Personally, yeah, he's raising a daughter, and last snow day last year, like he came over and played Ninja Turtles with us all day on the Nintendo Switch, so
yeah, nothing like knowing a military man that plays that. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. And he's just sweet. He's always so chill.
Yeah.
He handles things well, where I tend to get emotional. I let my emotions take over me sometimes. And then last but not least, Jimmy, on a professional level, we've like pretty much one of the first guys I played with when I moved back to Sioux Falls. Like on first guys that I was like, kind of like, oh, this guy is like, knows how to get gigs. And so, or he's like showing me that, oh yeah, if I hustle too, I could probably do stuff also, so I felt like I learned from him that way. And musically, we have grown up together in very formative years of our development. So, which on a professional level is really interesting and rare. And I never take it for granted that, and it's funny and we laugh, but it's also like a freaking miracle because we can do things wrong at we often will do it wrong at the exact same time, the exact same way. Rarely does one of us make a mistake, not with the other person. And it's weird as hell. It's like, we've never played it that way before, but we did that time and we did it exactly together. When we're playing next to each other, we breathe together. It's like a unit because we play wind instruments too. Right. It's really compelling, and it's a reason why people like this do it all the time. You know, like when you have a connection that deep, it's really amazing. Like, you know, you get like, it's almost like a form of like group meditation, but with him, it's so odd because there's a clear thing happening that no science could explain. I don't think today, you know what I mean?
Right.
Well, quarks,
you know,
we know that
the word chemistry is, you know,
yeah, that's the thing.
So
there's magic. We know that, you know, with some physics or whatever, like, you know, you can alter a quark here and it will alter the quark across the world or anywhere in the universe. Like that has to be happening on a musical level. And I don't mean that lightly, but something like that has to be happening. There's no other explanation for it unless the processing in our brain is just that amazing, which it might be. Who knows? Yeah.
And what I love about it is the fact that you've mentioned, you know, here's these guys that they can impede it. They can take it a certain way. And then you're going, okay, all right, and follow along. But all of you have this trust amongst each other that it's going to be great no matter what.
Yeah. Yep.
And you talk about, you know, never playing the song the same way. What are rehearsals like? Or do you guys not have to worry about rehearsal because you've all been doing it enough and you know what you're coming to the gig with?
It kind of depends. Like if we got together before we went West River this summer for a rehearsal because we hadn't played some of the tunes. We were trying new tunes out. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's a matter of whoever wrote the tune just kind of wants to know what it feels like in that context. So we'll rehearse when there's new material like that, or if it's been a while, you know, or like if we can, like just get together to play some new stuff, we will do that. We generally don't, unless we have a guest, like we had Andrea
Ross.
Yes, she sang with us for the SDPB thing. So we rehearsed with her. That way we can get forms down. If things are more like we have a guest, so we need to like, they're not going to know our language. You know what I mean? or like we don't know what they're capable. Like we can do whatever, but we don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. Yeah. So yeah, we don't really rehearse much, you know.
When you do, where do you rehearse?
Andrew's basement.
Andrew's, okay.
He's got a piano and he's kind of got a little mini studio and a good space room for it. You know, it's kind of like it's set up kind of that way. So it's pretty nice. Yes. Just down the street.
I know, right here in the neighborhood. We talk about that often.
Yeah. Well, we should tell you sometime when you can come and watch.
Oh man.
We're usually yelling at each other and like, somebody will start punching someone else. Like Jan's throwing drumsticks.
Everything you've said so far, I can.
We actually rehearsed once, like in Annie Younger's studio, her painting studio, and she had like a class there drawing, and she was painting us. She was working on this painting of us rehearsing. It's freaking amazing. But anyway, like somebody was drawing, and we were kind of like in between tunes. They're like, "Are you guys always this nice to each other?" And we're like, "I guess." I mean, this we're just talking. Like, you know, there's not like you always you want to navigate. Like, make sure you listen to everyone. You know, like. Sometimes people like I played with groups coming into town. Like sometimes I'm not suckered, and it's good experience,
right?
But sometimes you get like a call, and there's a group in town. They're from Chicago, and they're doing tunes from I don't know what band, and they need a tenor sax player. So you go do that, and you go to the rehearsal, and the MD is just angry and yelling at everyone, and like you're like, oh my god, don't screw up. I don't want this guy on my ass.
Yeah.
But
and I do want them to hire me again. Maybe.
Yeah. And that, but maybe, I mean, it's usually, I've played with a few of those groups multiple times. It's fun, but it's also like, what a weird world to have to live in where you're doing music and have to be yelling at somebody. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. Don't you think that's partly, I mean, we talk about this so often on this show, is the collaborative nature of the arts community here, not the competitive.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that when you do work with people from out of town, that there are different styles.
Yeah. I was thinking about that today with a friend. Actually, that competition. We have competition for sure.
Right. Everybody wants to get their piece of the pie, but
yep, and
everybody will help each other get a piece of the pie.
Yeah. The idea of the competition isn't winning, because there's no winning. The idea of the competition is like, I was explaining this to a friend. And you know what? I think I've read this also in Rick Rubin's book, The Creative Act. If you haven't read it, it's amazing. It's one of the best things I've read in years. And in one of the chapters, a lot of that book just confirmed like some things in my head that I was like, am I crazy for thinking this? This is one of them that, yeah, I'm competitive. I grew up doing sports all the time, but the competition is more like, I don't get mad losing. It's the idea of that person just showed me what I'm capable of. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like when I hear another saxophone player, I use this description. Actually, I played in a trio with John Bakken and Dan Heyer, and a trio opened for us, and Brian Hannigan was playing sax, and he's a beast. And I could have listened to that 45 minutes of him playing and thought competitively, like, I have to beat him. But I was thinking competitively. I was thinking like, Jesus, this is amazing.
Yeah,
he's playing everything. He's showing me what I'm capable of, but what do I do next so that it complements that? So
right.
that the competition is good because it teaches you it doesn't matter if you're better. What are you going to do that's yours? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Stop comparing yourself to others.
Yes, it's not
learn from others, but
yes,
it doesn't have to be that you have to be the same as someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Beatles and the Beach Boys did that.
Yeah, true.
Like they were listening to each other's albums as they were making them. They're like, wow, this is admiration. But then they're like, let's make one better.
Yep.
You know, look what happened. Just beautiful art.
You haven't bought an Iwi yet, have you?
No, I haven't.
any plans to?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it.
Hannigan's the only type of person I know that can pull that off.
He can, and it's great. I think they're cool. Like I played one before, but I just don't like. I love the thing that the saxophone gives me too much. You know.
Yeah.
And I can't. It's hard for me to go to other. I play other instruments often, but when I'm practicing, it's the sax in my hand because it's just I have a certain amount of control over it, so I can orate what I'm feeling, and it's hard to let that go. You know, I'd like to get a bass clarinet, a good one.
Really,
I love that,
yeah.
and it feels close to a saxophone. Right now I have in my house a contrabass clarinet, which is 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
And I'm playing it because they needed somebody to, because the lady who usually plays it in the High Plains Woodwinds is going to have a baby. And so Paul Schilf, who directs that, said, hey, would you want to play contrabass? And I'm like, well, would you have one? And they're like, the group does, you can have it. And I'm like,
oh,
yes, I'll play it. I will. If I can have that in my house for like the next 4 months, which I will, it sounds amazing. It is the coolest thing. It's just,
and what will that be a part of then?
The High Plains Woodwinds.
High Plains Woodwinds.
And the concert is, maybe I can tell you when that concert is, because some people may want to go, because it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
My wife plays saxophone in it.
See, I did not know that.
You didn't?
No.
High Plains, April. It's a Sunday. Oh, boy. Maybe I didn't put it in. Oh, my God, I better find out.
Yeah.
I'll have to let you know at a later date. Yeah, she plays saxophone in it. So...
Well, excellent.
Yep.
I look forward to hearing that then, too. But in the meantime, Saturday night, you will be at Flandreau, at the Crystal Theater. Some new music or basically some things you've been doing in the past and just revamped? Or what do we
Saturday will be some new music from my album, and we're going to play a tune that Dan Heyer wrote and probably some of Jeff Paul's tunes that are new that a lot of people probably haven't heard, and a tune that Andrew wrote, which is like, we've done experiments on it. We've played it, and every time it's one of those where we're finding it. And the last time we kind of did something a little bit different on the radio, and it was really awesome. So a lot of new stuff. There won't be much that people have ever heard us do before, probably, and mostly original things.
Any new albums in the works?
No, not like actively, but just personally for me, just it's always a reset time right now.
True.
And it's hard to like, I feel like this just kind of waking up into doing good work again. It's hard to reset after a big project like the last one I had, and because I did a couple projects with Mark Romanowski too.
Who still has to be on this show.
Yeah, he lives just down the street too.
That's right.
But yeah, there will be stuff. I'm just trying to figure out what.
Okay.
So,
well, we look forward to it no matter what.
Well, thank you.
All right. And so you know the trick. Usually there's 2 questions that I ask at the end. But since you've been on enough and it is a new year, let's kind of go this way since you led into it perfectly by talking about getting recharged and so forth.
Yes.
Are you a resolutions person or a goal setter?
No, I don't set resolutions because I don't want to set myself up for disappointment.
See, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't set goals until I know I can execute them. So I will have a possibility of a goal in mind, but I won't commit to it until the commitment has to happen. If that makes sense.
See, for me, I'm one of those that I don't do resolution because you're right. Usually within 2 weeks, everyone has broken their resolution. But if you have a goal, you get to the end of the year and you can mark off which ones you did and did not. And then you can say, okay, were we, overshooting on what we should have been doing here on this one? Is it something that's still attainable next year?
Sure.
Is it okay that it's next year and it didn't happen this year? And you can look at it in a variety of ways instead of beating yourself up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
I like that.
Yeah. And that's kind of the way that I go. But,
I guess I have lists.
Okay.
So a similar
List
thing.
maker, yeah.
I guess I don't think of them like goals, but that's good point. They are goals. They're like, and I just look and see what I can accomplish and what I can't. And maybe okay.
Yeah. I even added a new section to everything for 2024 of work toward.
Sure.
Yeah. Not
that's
just,
cool.
Here's a goal, you got to get this done or not.
That's a good idea.
Toward.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
that's cool.
So looking forward to that, but always look forward to seeing you on stage.
Yeah.
And the people that you were with obviously are just top notch as well. So fantastic stuff. All right. You did say, you were competitive in sports. What sports were you in?
I was in bowling, fast pitch softball, football, wrestling, basketball. I would have been in any sport that I could have been in. But there's some that just didn't work, because you just only so much time, I guess, when you're a kid and your parents only have so much money,
I had you pegged as a wrestler.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes, which I was as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. We should wrestle. You want to wrestle?
Oh, we can do it. I think we're down to arm wrestling at this age, though.
Thumb wrestling.
And I'm taking a look at your arms going, oh, shit, I won't win.
Thumb wrestle. We'll do that.
Okay, we can handle that. All right. Joel Shotwell. So Saturday night, what time?
7:30.
7:30 in Flandreau at the Crystal Theater. How do we get tickets and how much are they?
I think they're only $10 at the door, 10 or 15. If you go to the Crystal Theater website, I think they're on there. Yeah, I know. I'm like,
diggity.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So it's a great little venue too. Really cool spot. We like playing there. The people there have always been super cool.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, looking forward to it, my friend.
Thanks, man.
And as always, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffat's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffitt Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation. 605-332-9235 or exokairos.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
He's jazzed to the eyeballs. Once again, here's Dave Hplly. Crikey, mate.
Thanks again to my great guest, Joel Shotwell. As always, the biggest thank you goes to each of you. Whether you listen, download, share, follow, it all makes a difference. And if you haven't so far, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Besides information about the show, you'll find out when Dave Hplly Hour Trivia is going on at Chasers. For all 214 episodes, go online at davehpllyhour.com. By the way, use that search function on our website to look up when your favorite artists have been on before and listen to any of those previous episodes. As the Sioux Falls Arts Council says, together we art. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, my name is Dave Hplly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Hplly Hour has been brought to you by TJS Ceramic Studio, Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, Chasers Food and Spirits, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to davehpllyhour.com and click on the coffee cup icon. Don't forget to stay up to date on the show by following on Instagram and Facebook. The Dave Hplly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.